morning, everybody. It is Thursday, November 9th. I'm Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun here on the Victoria Real Estate Show with...
Hey, everybody. It's Andrew Plank with Vibe Real Estate Group and LePage here in Victoria, BC. Where are you, Jane?
I'm in Texas.
Texas.
I had to go all the way down here because, I needed to be with people who think differently than I do.
Good. And that's a place where it probably does happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to sort of who have known me for a long time, yet aren't influenced by me, and who I personally can't influence back. So I get kind of
it's a humbling
advice.
Experience.
It is very humbling. It's tough. So
okay. Well, good for you.
So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of traveling this year for conferences and events and awards and things. Feels like.
Well, I went away. So one holiday, and then the rest has been work related. Yeah. So I do like to learn a lot. So this week has been focused on branding a bit and just sort of taking my image to the next level, which sounds self-centered, but
no, it's important. It's really about aligning your image with who you are, so that when you're marketing, people get a better understanding of what they're going to receive when they're working with you. And that's really an important piece.
Yeah. And how are you doing?
Okay. As I was saying, I'm feeling a little under the weather, a little down, a little quiet. Don't know. Am I, is it seasonal affective? Am I just got a light flu? I know a lot of the plague has been going around for a lot of people, but yeah, I'm okay. I'm just quiet and slow, and there we go. So let's do. Yeah, and that's okay. And is it Stuart Small? What the guys from SNL? I'm good enough.
I don't know.
I'm smart enough. Doggone it, people like. Okay, yeah. Well, nobody would get that unless they're like our generation, and even you don't. So
I do get it, but I don't remember it. Anyway, all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, it's November 9th, 2023. We're going to be talking about the real estate market in Victoria and giving you 6 steps to getting your home ready for the spring market. Often
now's the time to start thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if you are looking at curb appeal, you can start planting your bulbs right now. So in your garden.
Plant those bulbs, people. Plant those bulbs. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Andrew.
All right, so today, as Jane mentioned, is November 9th, 2023. And so in the last 7 days, we had 245 properties go live on the MLS. 92 from the pool of listings went pending, meaning people agreed between each other to buy and sell. 144 people with their properties on market decided that they weren't getting the action they wanted and brought their price down. There were 6 price increases. 9 properties came back on market after going off market. 73 sold, 62 expired, 4 were withdrawn. Compare that with last week. The last week of October, we had 256. Well, actually, not the last week of October, but the last week before that, 256 properties went pending, so close. 256 properties new listing. 95 went pending. These numbers are pretty similar here. 155 price decreases, 14 increases, 2 back on market, 241 sold, 109 expired, and 12 withdrawn.
This kind of reminds me of the market just before COVID. I remember having an interview with somebody, and they're like, "What's the market like?" And I was like, "It is so steady. Like it feels very calm." I feel like with that list to sale ratio, buyers are starting to take their time and, not make quick decisions. So
it's boring.
It's boring.
It's boring. That's, it is. It's back to, it's back to there's not a lot happening. It's really price sensitive. Uh, it's um, it's not dead in the water. You know, we can see that there are properties selling, that there are people buying, but buyers certainly are not in a hurry, and so it is just kind of plodding along and doing its thing. Waiting, I think people are waiting to get some direction from the market. Like, what clearly can we expect in the future? What clearly are we heading towards a cliff, or are we heading towards another, rise in prices? Or is it just gonna be like this for the next year? But
Right.
but right now,
And
it's what is it indicating? It's indicating things are slow and not really moving too fast. There's not a lot of urgency for buyers.
right. So the price decreases tell me that that the sellers want some action going on here at 144. I mean, that's pretty high, I feel, and consistently high. So they want to get their house sold before the end of the year. They want to move on. So
Yeah, so let's
trying to
contrast this. Yeah, exactly. Let's contrast this with 245 new listings, let's say a 92 pending, but 10 price decreases. Really would suggest that sellers are not willing to adjust their pricing. They're going to stick to their guns and wait for buyers to come to them. And in this case, it's the sellers that are blinking first, and the sellers are dropping their price because they would rather sell than wait on market and perhaps take less later.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Okay, month to date in November. So we're looking at two different pools of data here. This one is for November 1st to November 6th, so last Monday. Net unconditional sales for the month of November so far are 66. That's compared to 384 in November of 2022, when I remember thinking the market was slow.
Mm,
And that's compared to 800 during COVID, when I remember thinking the market was incredibly fast for the whole month of
mhm.
November. New listings are at 192, and I expect seasonally we're going to go down anyway, because that's just a normal thing. And that's compared to 785 for November 2022. And active listings were at probably the highest we've been in a few years, at 1,722, and that's compared to 2,111 last year. And that's pretty consistent, a little higher than last month, where we were at 2,756. And new listings last month were at 1,100. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to get there.
No, I definitely not going to get there for the new listings. Maybe 800 if we stay on target. But as Jane mentioned, we will probably start seeing less listings as we move into the fall and winter. So this number every week should probably get smaller and add up to something probably closer to 700 to 750. What do you think?
Well, I agree. And if you're a buyer and you're looking, now is a fabulous time, because we're seeing seller motivation is high. We're seeing longer days on market. We're seeing less net unconditional sales. So it's a good time to buy. Personally, my husband and I have often bought in November. So I think
Mm.
we're following a typical market here.
The typical market slide into the winter, then usually there's some robustness in the spring as people get more positive and more enthusiastic about maybe the future. So
As
yeah,
more light hits us every
as
day.
more
Maybe you
light
should
hits us every day.
come
Yeah.
rowing with me in the morning.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so
I'm
which
taking my
brings us
vitamin D for sure.
okay, which brings us to the spring market here. So why are we thinking about spring when it's November? The fact is that the work that we need to do now will prepare us to get us on the market. So we've come up with a few things to get your home ready for spring. So the
Hmm.
first one is obviously talk to your realtor. And what your realtor can do is walk around your house and discuss what needs to be done. They can look at all the minor items. They're obviously not a builder or an inspector, but they have a practiced eye and they can see what's going on. What about you? What do you think for the second one?
Well, I was gonna, shall we just go through and talk through each of these? Well, okay, we'll go through
Sure.
the list and then let's circle back. So
Okay.
certainly focusing on curb appeal. Um, that is a big piece of what people will be attracted to when your home is ready for sale, and you need to be showing your best Sunday dress and being you are competing against others in the sense that if your price and all other things equal, then it's going to be the home that's going to have the best appeal, that's going to draw people in, or more people in at least.
I remember one of my clients, um, when I first got into real estate, we were listing her house, and I was walking up the driveway and I was like, that doesn't look like a rose bush. And she goes, oh, it's not. I just stuck some fake roses. She
Ah,
put them into the bush, and it added a pop. It was so funny. And I was like, wow, it fooled me. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah, hilarious.
yeah. And it's just
Um,
like first impressions are so important, right? So
yeah,
how you're showing up, even as people are coming up to your house, is just like so crucial.
mhm, yeah. So number
Okay,
three, yeah,
get
get your home.
get your
Go ahead.
get your home professionally cleaned, including your windows. Demoss your roof. This is something people forget, and look to see if there's any growth in those eaves troughs. Because for two reasons. One is if you do have growth there, the water's gonna may back up and it go into the house, but
Mhm.
also it just looks very unattractive.
Yeah, and I've had clients, we walk through a home and they're looking in the window sills and it's an older home with maybe single pane or double pane aluminum windows, and there's some mold in the window panes. And I've had that has turned buyers right off, despite that being really more like a cleaning issue than a health and safety issue. It's not like there's a lot there, but all of these little things add up to an impression, and you want to make sure that you're getting the right impression. So having the home professionally cleaned definitely helps the buyer to feel confident they're going to not have to do a deep clean when they move in. That's that's a deal killer right there. At least not a deal killer, but it will impact your sale price.
Yeah, I remember seeing this really beautifully renovated home, and they had taken the attic and converted it into two bedrooms.
Mhm.
And we walked to each end, and so there's less insulation in these older homes. It was on Denman, I remember. And I pulled back the curtain, and between the curtain and the window, I guess they never opened it. There was
Oh
all
yeah.
this mold. So gross.
Mhm.
And what happens is we smell it. We don't know what we're smelling, but we smell it doesn't smell right. And then we see it. It's just
Mhm.
disgusting.
That goes into the whole idea, and this is when you're getting your home ready for sale, the unconscious under the level of consciousness elements that add up to give an impression of a home are really important, and that can even be going through a home and noticing that there's not, it's obviously a family home, but it feels like there's somebody missing, because maybe it's a family split, and you pick up on these things, and it may not even be something you're actually aware of. Although as realtors, we tend to look for and notice those things. Um, but it is important to sort of create that, well, to make sure that you're not creating any negative impacts by the impressions. And certainly, yeah, smell is a big one. And folks, don't go and buy all the latest smelly stuff to make your home smell good. It just seems like you're masking something else. Get to the root of the problem. Don't try to make it smell nice and overwhelm, because we want to smell the house as
Yeah.
it is.
Also, some people like me react. So,
Yes, I do too. Yeah, sneezing, and it's not a good effect. So
okay.
staging is an option as well. And again, if you're considering listing in the spring, uh, it's never too early to start consulting and looking into what you should be doing. Jane and I both have people we can refer you to give staging advice. We can give some of our own basic staging advice and suggest maybe that you're going to be moving anyway. Let's start the declutter process now. Um, and again, that staging also speaks to what I just mentioned. If somebody has moved out of the house and it's a little emptier than it would normally be, what can we do to help sort of balance that out?
Yeah, and so recently I had a kind of mid-century modern type house, so I went and I bought some funky bedding to put on the beds just to give it a little pop of color
Mhm.
because they had like crocheted beige beige bedding, and I was like, you know what, this will just show up a little bit better in the pictures that it did. And
Mhm.
it just makes a little bit of a difference. And again, people don't know what they're responding to, but they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
As I put my hand on my heart. Okay,
Mhm.
the next one is a goodie, a pre-inspection. So what this does is it kind of gives you, it doesn't kind of, it gives you a checklist of things that you should be doing to get your home ready for sale. So the inspector looks at the roof, the plumbing, the wiring, the foundation, and they also look at the heating and cooling system. And so they're going to go through, they're not going to look at the aesthetics. You can bring a handyman to look at the aesthetics, but the pre-inspection will give you this checklist then of everything that will possibly come up in an inspection. I mean,
A
no one's
buyer's
perfect.
inspection, yeah.
A buyer's inspection. But what this will do is really reduce the number of objections that a buyer will have if you deal with it. And you can share that inspection and write your own notes beside it or have the inspector come back and update it to show that you've done these things.
Yeah, I think a pre-inspection can be really, really useful, especially, I mean, really on any home. Even newer homes can have things that come up. They are costly. I mean, you're going to be spending, you know, 750 dollars perhaps on an inspection, sometimes less, sometimes more, depends on the house and the inspector. But what you really get with that pre-inspection is the insurance that, um, well, let's talk about if you hadn't gotten one and that there's mold in the attic that you didn't know about, or that there's a problem with the heating system in the home. Um, uh, and you go to market and you are on market for a while, and the right buyer comes along and they love the home and they negotiate a great price with you, but then they do the inspection, they find something that is actually a deal breaker for them that you could have repaired earlier. And a deal breaker could be mold in the attic very often, or sometimes it's asbestos insulation, or anything that if we had known about in advance, dealt with in advance, or at least been able to disclose in advance, that's something we can then negotiate then and there. I know that some people
Or
have a, yeah.
or if you know about it in advance, you can A, deal with it, or B, you can disclose it so that
Yeah.
it may go on. So then the buyer is making the offer with the knowledge that this disclosure is in hand. So recently we had a listing where we had over 40% poly B. And when I brought a plumber in, um, it was funny. So poly B, apparently, when it fails because there's a change in temperature. And oh, sorry, my phone is ringing. And high chlorine levels, which we don't really have, but it was only on the cold water side. It was the weirdest thing.
Oh, the polybead will be installed in the cold water side only. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but anyway, but the the point is that if we had known about that, we would have dealt with it before we even brought it to market.
Right. And the thing is, a problem disclosed is something that, a good realtor on the buyer side can help explain and prepare and consult. And, you can do your investigation as a buyer and get comfortable with it. But when it comes up as a shock at the last minute, just before you're due to remove conditions, sometimes the easiest and most prudent action. I mean, yes, you can try to renegotiate, but you're going to be renegotiating on it. Like you're probably going to diminish the subjective value you have for the property you're looking to buy. So, from the seller's perspective, it's not a great thing to have a big surprise come up at the last minute. Um, and it could mean that the person walks away and then you're back on market for longer and you may end up getting less for your home. So, a pre inspection can, I know that there's a concern that some sellers have. What if it finds something that I didn't know about? It wouldn't have been maybe the buyer wasn't going to get an inspection and they would have bought the place. And now that I know about it, I have to disclose it. Isn't that a negative? But I think the chances of that are much smaller than the chances of finding stuff you can actually address, that help to make your place more valuable, and you're doing the fixes before they become a problem for a buyer.
Yeah, and I think also, the fact that you've taken time to take care of these things as well shows that you're caring about the property itself. Like you're showing up in a way that the buyer knows that you've been caring. It's
Mhm.
when somebody comes in. We talk about fixes, small stuff here. When somebody comes in and they see, oh, there's little issues here. Oh, like they put in this crappy trim. Um, it doesn't match anything else, or we find problems with the wiring, just little things. These all show how the house is being taken care of overall. And I did have a client buy a house that this apparently this guy's a professional handyman been working
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they opened up a wall and they're like, the the guy who went in to do the work is like, oh my goodness. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, not every handy person is created equal, and even the people who say I can do this myself, I'll fix these myself. Um, it's a matter of doing it right. Don't necessarily want to do it yourself unless you really, really, truly are aware and handy and have a good YouTube channel to access. Like, so the
So
difference between having your bathroom sink and tub properly caulked, because that's a big one for people looking in a bathroom. It's the difference between looking into the bathroom and having that little underlying smell of mold, the staining along the edges of the bathtub, the grout needing done, um, or it being really nice and clean. And even if it's outdated and could use a complete renovation to bring it up to like a modern aesthetic, as long as it's clean, people will be a lot more, um, a lot more. And when I say clean, so we've talked about having a place professionally cleaned, but there's also that extra layer of doing things like the caulking and doing things like, yeah, ensuring the baseboards are properly on, ensuring that your light switches are not all crooked, or the cover plates are on, not falling off. You want to show that you've cared about this house, and if you
yeah.
haven't for years, then try to at least bring it up to speed.
So I went to show a house. It was in Gordon Head. We were the buyer's agents, and we walk in, and I'm like, "Holy smokes! It smells moldy." So we're
Mhm.
walking around, and I look in the washing machine. That's one place I always look because often there's mold in the sleeve or
Yeah,
whatever you call it,
and this
seal.
the front facing washers. Yeah,
Yeah, and so this one had water, standing water, and mold growing on it, and
it
I
was a
guess
vacant
what they
home.
did, no, it wasn't vacant. I don't know when the last time, it was an elder reseller. I don't know when the last time was that they actually did laundry,
Mhm.
but uh, I said to the buyers, this is the source of the smell. So you may, just so you know, many people won't buy this house because it reeks. So I'm just letting you know that don't let this, like, this is a temporary situation and we can deal with this. It's not like there's not enough ventilation in the roof and the whole house is moldy. It's just this little area. So they
That's
bought
it.
it and they're
Yeah,
so happy.
yeah. I mean, that doesn't negate that there couldn't have been other problems, but it's a really clear, apparent reason for that smell. I find too, if a place has been vacant for a while and you walk in and you're getting the sewer gas smell because the traps have dried out from the sinks, and those water traps are designed to keep those gases from backfilling back into the house. So you end up in a house that's just, oh my God, this place smells horrible. All it needs is an air out and some water in those traps. So, but the impression for the buyers is really negative.
Yeah. So So anyway, what a realtor can do is walk through your house with you and just give you some tips. If there's stuff that we think we can't handle, we can refer you to someone who will help you and provide you with resources.
Yep.
And like now is the time to start, because you're gonna prepare your house for Christmas as well, or holiday season. And so, why not just take a little extra time and focus on these other things?
It's a big push to do it at the last minute. You're inevitably going to find extra things you're going to need to do to get your home ready for sale. And so the sooner you start, the better. And there's also that conversation going back to the number one, which is really, really very vitally important. Don't leave it till the last minute to say, hey, I want to list my home in a week. What do I need to do? Let us know earlier. And, not every home should wait till spring to get up and listed for sale. There may be elements of your home or reasons, for market reasons or what have you, for getting your property on market now. And I've certainly met with people, and there's been situations where it actually makes more sense, and they're going to realize more money and have a faster sale now, even though their home hasn't been fully prepared and they haven't done items 2 through 6, than by waiting, especially in a market where it's starting to slow down, or there's a certain segment of the market that's softening or higher more quickly than others. So really, really important to talk to the realtor and just give them that heads up and ask for that advice and consultation about, hey, this is my situation and what should we do?
Right. And the other thing is we can start letting you know, or even showing you what other homes that are compared to yours are showing like, so you can see how your house should show, relatively speaking. So it'll give you a target to work at as well.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than, certainly the market shifts, and if we're looking at listing in the spring, we can't really give you an exact price now that would be effective in the spring, but we certainly can give you some advice as to what it's worth. We can talk about what it's worth now and what we might anticipate in the spring, and then you can make a decision around what's going to happen. We can talk about what your home might sell for with work done versus not, and certainly by getting out and looking at some properties with your realtor, you're going to see the exact competition for your home at the time and have a much better idea of value and price, which may affect your decision to sell or not.
Yeah. So Andrew, let's move on to the next thing. Do you have any needs and wants? Did you find your client a house in Fairfield?
No, we're still looking. We are still looking. We've been out multiple times. Really love going out with these guys. They're a lot of fun. Cute little 2-year-old kid who always looks forward to seeing me, and gave me a leaf last time we had a showing. But yeah, I know.
You know what? I used to bring little Band-Aids, and I'd give them a Band-Aid at the end of the showing if they behaved well.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
got to pick their Band-Aid. So depending on the kids, I got lots of colorful ones. That was fun.
That's great. Yeah. So still working with them. Yeah, I need a townhouse or house under 750, 800,000. There was a house that just listed recently on Sumas in the low price point, but it had some old issues. And if you saw that one,
was that the one without a roof?
No, there's two. There's a second one. Just recently listed. Anyway, it's under contract already, and thankfully she didn't go for it because I think it would have been too much work to take on. But yes, we're looking for something in that price point. Always looking for investment properties. I've got a couple people looking for something for an investment, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So I have a great property on 5th Street right now. It is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. Let me just pull it up here. It's priced at $899. We actually just got an offer today, but it's 1,700 square feet. It's the original house, and it has a second house in the back, and they're attached by a deck. So it's legal non-conforming. They each take care of their own home, and the only common property is the driveway. So it's like a duplex you'd find in Toronto, sort of thing.
Yeah. And technically it's a duplex, but it is legally a duplex, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just repriced our listing on Southgate, so it has come down to 629,500. So that's at 1035 Southgate. This place has been updated. It's beautiful, and it is 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's just under 1,200 square feet. So if people are interested, it's very easy to show in a quick possession, and it does have shared laundry. So that's something to think about. And then we have another listing on View Street, 1020 View, Unit 403, and I think that's going to be coming up for a price reduction shortly as well.
Okay. So, I've got a listing in 904 Garthland. It is under contract right now. Conditions are due Friday. We're not too sure where this is going to go yet. Just, we're talking about pre-inspections, building inspections. We're waiting to see the results of what the buyers feel about some of the results of the inspection. So it might come back on market. It's a great home, currently listed at 1.1, 3 beds, 2 baths up, with a nice 1-bedroom, 1-bath suite down, and a spare and a 4th bedroom down. Nice south-facing backyard with some Gary Oaks in the back. Really great floor plan. I really like it. And if you're looking for something that is for family to move into, especially elderly, it's a no-step entrance at the ground level. So it's built on slab, ground level entry, full height ceiling. Really wonderful option if you're looking for mom or dad to move in downstairs. We have a house on Witchbury in Esquimalt that is 3 beds, 1 bath up, and 3 beds, 1 bath down, 2 separate fully self-contained area suites. It's a good size home. It's a beautiful yard, some deferred maintenance, but it just plantings of all kinds of wonderful. If you have a green thumb, you would just be in love with this yard, and it's all protected from the deer and all fully fenced. But yeah, it's a 1960s home that has, the nice wood floors and some cove ceilings. It's like 50s, 60s mix of
That's a great little house.
elements. It is a great home, and the price is $1 million. It's the right price, I think. We just need to get the right buyer.
Right. I have somebody looking for a house with a suite. They want really modern, 3 bedrooms on 1 level, 2 living rooms with a suite, and up to 1.5. If you know anything, anywhere between Esquimalt up to Central Saanich. Very hard to find something that's renovated, nicely done, ready to go.
Yeah. At 1.5.
Okay. At 1.5. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's just end out here. We just want to, just let everybody know that we are on every Thursday morning at 9:30, and we're willing to podcast from another country, folks.
Thanks for showing up today, Jane. I would have been rambling all by myself.
How do people reach you, Andrew?
Yeah,
awesome person.
Text me, call me, 250-360-6106. Email me, info@andrewplank.com. Check out the website, andrewplank.com. Check out Instagram, plankandrew, and lots of updates there as well. Jane, how about you?
Awesome. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. You can reach me on my cell at 250-744-0775. My email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. My website's briarhillgroup.com. And you can watch these videos and more at the victoriarealestateshow.com, and follow me on Twitter for Lifestyle of Victoria at realtyteacher_Remax_Victoria. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for playing with me, Andrew.
You're welcome. Have fun in Texas.
Texas.